Hey Fred, this is a prepaid gas receipt. You need to go back to the gas station and get the one that has the gallons on it.
Copy you. Let's start off too by thanking you again for being here. I want to introduce you as Doc Justice is here with us today and going to walk us through his life on these sets and on this circus that we do. Welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no. How long have you been working in entertainment?
I have been working in sound and entertainment for as long as I can remember. I mean, I came up as a DJ in the bar and bat mitzvah, Sweet 16, wedding world, mobile parties. I started when I was 13 or 14, something like that. And that led into nightclubs. This is all in and around Philly. And then from nightclubs, I got into commercial radio. And then that was all before I started working in sound and TV. So I'm kind of on my third career, my third phase of life. First was the DJing, then was the production sound mixing, and now creating headphones for production. So I've been doing this. It's the only thing I know.
What was the first equipment you used to DJ on? Do you remember?
Oh, geez. It was probably a Denon a dual CD deck. It was all CDs then, but I became a vinyl guy quickly. So I became I got on my Technics 1200s that I.
And those
I'm
are
still on
turntables,
today,
right?
yeah.
So back then, it started off with a little bit of, again, when you started, it was the CD players, all
Yeah.
of that, bring it into the vinyl, but before the computer age.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I was analog dude.
Nice.
I mean, I still have. I gave up a good chunk of my record collection. I still have maybe, I don't know, 1,500 records at the house, but that's down from a high of like 6,000, 7,000.
Damn.
They just take up a lot of space.
Yes, they do, but they're awesome.
Yeah.
I love vinyl. I actually, one of my favorite things to do is to go to like really bad thrift stores
Yeah.
and just dig through the dollar bin
Oh,
and
yeah.
just find like the worst albums, the worst stuff like
You
that. to me
find
is
gems, though.
right?
I loved my like Motown set, where I could like find a little groove and carve out this is my me time during the party. But I'm a hip hop kid at heart. So
Yeah.
like, I would find my ways to add in a little flavor for the 13-year-olds. And then that's, it was always just keeping me going while I was like, I'm gonna be in the clubs and I'm gonna be a record producer. And most sound people, most of us are failed musicians in some form or another.
That's actually what I was going to ask. I was going to say, what made you come towards that? It was music?
Yeah, is 100% music. So the way I got involved in DJing was there was a company, a mobile party company, entertainment group in my area that opened up a new facility. Basically a banquet hall, but like a hip, cool banquet hall where people would want to have parties at. And they were offering DJ classes. And I was like, I'm 13 or 14, however old I was. And I'm like, I'm going to learn how to be like Jazzy Jeff. I'm going to learn how to do the things all my favorite DJs do. And, they taught me how to be a bar mitzvah DJ. And I was like, after a couple of lessons, they said, okay, your first job's on Saturday night. Okay. But I loved playing music. I love two things about it. Like, I love music, and I love buttons and gadgets.
Nice.
Like, it speaks to me. Like, when I say I'm a hip-hop kid, I'm a hip-hop geek. Like, I study it. I love the artistry of it. I love the science of it. So when I started learning about all the equipment, whether it was just a Denon CD player or whatever it was, like I fell in love fast and hard. And, your first love is intense.
Yeah.
That stuck with me. So that's why I do it today. You know, I still DJ at home for my wife and my cat. The cat hates it, so I got 50% approval rate. But yeah, that love never left.
Now, was your parents happy about that in the house? Was that
I mean, my parents are like classic rock heads. They're like wannabe hippies. They raised me on classic rock, 60s and 70s, but they were also into reggae, which is how like I started to get into hip hop. And they had a hard time when I really dove headfirst into hip hop. Like, I mean, parents are not supposed to understand their kids' music. That's just the way it is. And they had a problem with like, you know, the language and little 14-year-old, short little suburban kid singing along to some songs that I shouldn't have been singing along to. Yeah, that wasn't a good look, but they ended up realizing like, you know, this was a true passion, and they helped foster it. Like they drove me to those DJ classes, and they
awesome.
put up with me playing the same songs on repeat in the house as I learned to juggle 2 records. So it was tough for them, but they were as cool as a parent could be about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I had growing up, my parents had one Christmas album, and it was Boney M's Christmas album. So it was like a real reggae kind of thing. And so I didn't know. So I'm like 12 years old, and I go out, and somebody's putting on Bob Marley. And I'm like, why are you playing Christmas music? And they're like, you're an idiot. I thought reggae music was
hilarious.
Christmas music. And they're like, when you're in a house full of people looking at you going, you think Marley's Christmas music? Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing.
Right. That's like the most revolutionary music of the 70s.
And I'm like, why are you all playing Christmas music?
Hilarious. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's great. Now, when did that music and that your love for it and the DJing, when did that start turning into the entertainment or actually capturing of the audio?
So, in college, I was DJing in a bunch of nightclubs, and I had gotten on commercial radio, the pop mainstream top 40 station in Philly, as a Friday night mix show DJ for a very short stint, little under a year. So, but I'm in the clubs, you know, a few nights a week, and I got word that a reality show was coming to town right after I graduated college. The Real World was coming to Philly. And I was able to get a job as a PA on it.
That's old school. That's like original reality.
And I met the sound team on it and was like, wait, I know how to do this. You just need, like, I know how the signal flow works, the signal chain. You just teach me how to do it for TV. Like, what's the policies and politics of all of this? And when I saw that, I was like, this is a career. I thought of DJing as a great job, but I thought of sound for TV could be a great career. And around the same time, the music, you know, after college, the music that I loved was no longer what was popular on radio. So as musical tendencies and tastes shifted, I was also shifting my mindset to, well, I need a career. Not to mention my parents were like, get the hell out the house. So after the Real World, I did a couple more jobs as a PA in Philly, but I was like, it's time to pack up and shift to LA and see if I can give this a go.
What was the first one out here in LA? What was your first gig?
Again, as a PA on another Buna Murray show at the time called Starting Over, which was basically the Real World meets Dr. Phil. Basically, it was they put a bunch of women in a house who all had some psychological issues, and paired them with some therapists. So
That sounds
it was like it was a pretty altruistic show in that the women were dealing with serious issues, and they were able to get help, and they would like graduate from the house as they dealt with their issues. So it was like a good thing. But as a PA, it was rough.
yeah.
But it was also like pledging a fraternity in that like I went to battle with these people, with my fellow PAs, and like these are people that I'm still friends with, more so than the people that, you know, I worked on more well-known shows
Yep.
with.
Do you, when it comes to being a PA, a production assistant, do you think that job has changed over the years?
I'll start with that it's definitely changed a lot for the better. Especially, you know, we're talking, this is all before social media. This is all before social media became commonplace. It's definitely changed a lot for the better in that the people who are doing the job are more educated on their own value and what they should be doing in the role and what they shouldn't be doing. Like, you know, there were times where as a PA, people said to me like, "Oh, you know how to do audio. Why don't you go do audio for the day?" And I was thrilled that I got to put on a bag and mix audio for a day for my PA rate. So, like, we got taken advantage of a lot. And I feel like, while of course that still happens, people always looking for an edge, that I feel like it happens a lot less now.
What is a production assistant, and what were their kind of responsibilities and different things? Like if you're just besides being bumped up, what's your basic responsibilities back then?
Yeah, I look at it a little differently now, obviously, than I did back then. Back then, I thought of it as the low man on the totem pole. I was the person who had to do all of the work that none of the other departments or other people had time or the wherewithal to do. So taking out the trash and running, filling craft service, going to get crew meals, all of that. It wasn't until I got older and maybe a little more emotionally mature that I realized that like the term production assistant to me means an assistant to the production department and not to the overall production, the overall show. So this is a stepping stone working in the production department. So working directly for the coordinators, the production managers, the line producers, and they are the ones that have to oversee the entirety of the production. They're like the general manager of the team, if you will. So my job as a PA was to facilitate their job. Once like that mindset shifted, now unfortunately I figured that out after I was done as a PA. Was able to use that to help other PAs realize that like, okay, this is where you are and this is what your role is. But some people still view it as just the gopher, just the grunt work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always said like, as a PA, if your goal is not to be in the production department, then you need to take the opportunities that you have to ingrain yourself with the other departments, learn those people, network, build those relationships, learn from them what is possible, and then see where you can take it. But if it is to go into production and to become the GM of that team, you're there and you're in a great position to build.
Yeah. What do you think your best tool was as a crew member to help you break away from that, to become an audio mixer?
my background in audio helped. Having basic understandings of how audio works and signal flow and how recording works. So feel like I had a leg up there, but the way I moved out of the production department and into sound was, truthfully, I could say this looking back, it was being well liked by the sound department and not so liked by the production department. Being a cocky little kid, sarcastic and all, was not going to get me far on the production team. It was never my goal anyway. So I just attached myself like glue to the sound team and made two friends, and these people helped bring me on to other projects, and they helped go to bat for me. And that's, like, to me, no matter if it's moving from PA to any other department or any other job or anything else in industry and business, it's like networking is just proving or showing your value to somebody else. So I showed my value in that I knew audio and I was funny and fun to be around. And those two things got me a lot of jobs that way.
Nice. Which one of the most fun memories you have on set? Was one of the ones that you're just like, oh, that was a fun day?
So, I mean, I was working on a show, worked on a show called Whodunit for ABC, summertime show, where this was a big union show. I'm supervising. I have a team of, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 sound mixers, 2 A2s at the time, and we busted our ass. Like, it was shot in a mansion, I think in Beverly Hills. I don't remember exactly where it was. And we were just humping it all day, putting together magic for this show. And they brought in ice cream for us. And that felt like they just all gave us $1 million bonuses. That felt like when production brought in an ice cream truck for us, that became, hey, remember the day we got ice cream? This was over 10 years ago. I will still get texts. I will still get phone calls from people who were on that show just saying, hey, remember that day we got ice cream? That was the greatest day. That was the best day.
Ice cream makes everything better.
Everything better. I don't remember how long of a work day that was, but
it was ice cream. It was we were in ice cream hour.
Yeah, damn right.
What's the favorite one for you right now to try to capture as far as audio? Do you like working on documentaries, live events, shows? Which one for you is you're like, oh, that's gonna be like, that's the one you like?
Yeah, as my career grew, I became known for competition shows.
Okay.
So large scale house reality and competition shows. This is like the engineer in me. That's where I shine. So I love obstacle course shows. I love sprawling installations where I have to figure out how to capture people's footsteps and grunts and screams for hundreds of yards or miles apart from each other. That's where I thrived, and I loved it. And I was like, give me a new challenge every day and where we can plant microphones, and that spoke to me. That's what I loved the most. Like, I love pre-production more than production. So when I'm putting pen to paper and putting together my gear lists and building out my plans, like that speaks to my heart.
What's your favorite location you've been to or shot on, or like what's the one?
I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have traveled the world over. We've shot on in the jungles in Thailand, to castles in Spain, to you know beaches in Hawaii.
Beaches in Hawaii, that's not a sound problem. Those waves and all that stuff, that's easy, right?
It's in the shot. It's
Right?
explained.
Yeah.
But we've shot in amazing places. I've shot in, every rural town in America, and I've shot in the fanciest places around the world. Um, there's one reality TV trick, for lack of a better word, I could say. If a show says that they are in paradise, they are in Mexico. No matter where paradise is just a short plane ride away to Mexico.
Not a short one. It's 4 hours.
Yeah.
What but none of them, you don't have one that you just go, "Oh, wow, I got to stand in this castle or this one." I'll tell you, talking about music for me, I was telling a story the other day. I couldn't remember, but I was on this really show called Reverb back in the day on HBO where we'd go and do bands. And I used to get really lucky with a couple of them. I got to do like a Weezer and stuff and
Cool.
Pete Yorn. But I can tell you, like, again, I'm not a massive music guy as much and stuff, but there was this moment in the Hollywood Palladium where it was the guy doing the sound check behind the board. The whole place was empty, right? He's off to the side, and on the stage, sound checking is Oysterhead.
Cool.
And I'm watching the three of them, and I'm the only person in the Hollywood Palladium. And they were digging that I was just watching. Like, I
Yeah.
was just there. And literally, they finish, and Claypool, like, just goes, "How was that?" And I just went, that was the moment.
Right?
Like, that was just the moment. And again, I don't understand the audio, I don't understand the thing, but the moment
Yeah.
was just one of those things where you're like, wow,
Yeah.
those are why we do this. Those are like those amazing moments where you're like, I got to see that. I
Yeah.
got to be a part of that. And those are always the ones for me, especially as a crew and especially as we're going out. Those are our paychecks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are worth it. Those are my ones.
I'll tell you, for me, the number one moment. I worked on a cooking show for the Food Network for 4 or 5 years. And one day we had the Make-A-Wish Foundation come to the set. And it was a kid's wish to be there to see the taping of this show. And that gave me new perspective of, okay, this kid's dying wish, let's call it what it is to be where I am at every day of my life. Like, how could you not get in your feels about that? How do you not
Yeah.
gain new perspective? Like,
you forget.
you forget, because I'm wrapped up in well, my rate should be this, and we should get out of here then. And it becomes so insular that we forget, like, what we're creating affects people.
They just want to be a part of it. They just to be around it.
Yeah.
Just to be in the and feel the energy and feel what we're doing.
Yeah.
And doing it. And again, that's the
That's
point.
powerful.
That's the power. That's the power of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And stuff. And that's could be right now. That could be my favorite story ever. That could be my favorite set story.
And so, like, I could tell stories of being around, the biggest of big celebrities and in giant mansions and on yachts and and I've done all of that, and it's all incredible. But yeah, that little girl, that was the best. She
That's
gave
just
me
the moment.
best.
That's
Yeah,
the
best
that's
moment.
it. What's the worst, scripted or unscripted, worst one that you got interrupted in a take?
I have a story about an interrupted take that I wasn't present for, but I will tell this story because it, it it's just an insane set of circumstances. On a show I was working on as the audio supervisor, I had to take a weekend off to go to my brother-in-law's bachelor party. So I had set up this show and was running this show, and I had one of my A2s cover me for the weekend while I was away. We went to the Kentucky Derby. And on this one particular day, we went to the Jim Beam Distillery to do a tour. And of course, we're drinking and having a good time when I get a call from production that one of the sound mixers had stopped a shot in the middle of the shot saying there's a plane overhead. And this is in a big multi-camera setup, and the showrunner said something like, you know, are we good to go? And the sound mixer was like, I'll tell you when we're good to go, and mouthed off to the showrunner in front of the cast and the crew. And they were like, you've got to fire this sound mixer. And I'm now drunk in the backseat of a car in Kentucky, and I have to call up this sound mixer who is a good friend of mine and say, like, what did you do? What? They're asking me to let you go. He was like, you're firing me? I was like, I'm not, but they are.
It's always one person that just shuts everybody down with one statement. You're like, what did you just do?
And let me be clear, like, he was technically right in the moment that production should have waited another minute. But damn, don't show up the showrunner in front of everybody.
No.
And if they say go, it's their show. It's not our show.
Yeah.
That's another thing I learned late in my career. I kept saying my show early in my career. And then later on realized this is not my show. I am a cog in a machine helping to build a show for somebody else.
Yep.
And they get out of it what they want out of it. If they want to wait for better sound, for a clear location, great. And if they don't, they'll live with it in the edit. And they'll deal, and it's fine.
What was your biggest mistake that you made?
Oh, I've screwed up. And the ability in sound to screw up means you can ruin an entire production day before people notice. Because if people aren't double checking or monitoring the audio, things can go wrong. And like, you know, when I first started to learn how to send audio to camera 20-some years ago, and a setting got switched in the camera, and I recorded all distorted audio for a day and cost the production an entire day's worth of work. That doesn't feel good.
No.
So my goal quickly became never make the same mistake twice.
Nice.
So I screw up a lot, and I fail every day still. I find new ways to fail. But as long as there are new ways, it's okay. Because if I screw up the same way again, man, I won't forgive myself. I want to add one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
I also learned never hand a pair of scissors to a cast member because they will find a way to cut their mic.
What did they cut their mic?
They just, just need to cut this little string. Oh, that string was a $600 mic? Whoops.
What was the one that you were just, while you were listening to it, you were in the moment going, this is great?
There are a few moments in reality TV where something would happen, and in the moment, I would think to myself, this is going to get talked about. This is going to be a big deal. And people, like friends and family and the viewing public, when they talk about it, and I say, yeah, I was there. I was 5 feet away from when it happened. and their faces, what? Tell me about it. And I'm like, yeah, it was either an insane blow up of a fight or a real emotional moment or somebody just dropping pearls of wisdom. To be able to experience that without having a screen in between us, like experiencing that in the moment, that always felt amazing. But the truth is, my moments of satisfaction always came in moments that no one else realized was a moment for me. Like if me and my team came up with a plan together to capture some sound or capture some dialogue or some piece of audio in a way that was completely novel, at least to us, where we said, all right, we're going to do it this way. No one is expecting us to do this. No one is expecting us to be able to pull this off, or they don't even know what we're doing. And we do it. And I can look at my team and go, yes, that was the most satisfactory. Like that's when I just felt proud and accomplished. Like we did that. We did it together. Like that was amazing. Maybe it affects the production. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they don't have a clue. But like for us, it meant the world. Though I lived for those moments.
That's awesome. Is there any one moment like that where like you put together something?
There was a brief period of time where somebody, where I would get calls for jobs because I was known for what somebody coined as extreme miking. And I would put lav mics on people in circumstances where they would be in and out of water, in and out of mud, crawl under barbed wire, just crazy circumstances that you wouldn't expect a mic to survive, or you wouldn't necessarily want to, other productions wouldn't necessarily want to rely upon this for the soul of their storytelling. And I came up with ways of attaching microphones to people and hiding mics on people where they could do that. And I was very proud of that. And at the time, I kept it a little secret sauce because I wanted to be hired for the next job too. So I kept it guarded of who I would help teach these to. Yeah. Now I teach these methods to everybody because I'm out of the field. But yeah, I'm proud to, have developed those techniques.
What is it that you're doing now? What are you kind of working towards, and what's the thing, which is still audio?
It is. Yeah. Now, rather than working on set in production, I build products that help facilitate production. I own a company called Halter Technical that creates headphones and headsets that are built for production. The company was born out of necessity. It was directors, producers, executives asking me for headphones that, quite frankly, just didn't exist. As much as I was looking around for a headphone that fit their needs, and I learned that nobody makes a headphone for production. No one built a specific headset for reality producers. So I took it upon myself. I built a headset for reality producers. And when people got a hold of that and wind of that, and they then said, well, we need something for the scripted world. And then they said, well, we need something for the executives. And it snowballed from there. So now we have a line of headphones that are all tailor-made for different jobs on set.
Nice. And how's that been going? How many years you've got that one going now?
The company started in 2015.
Okay.
It was I don't want to say hobby, I don't want to say side hustle, but it was an extra project for me.
A bartending job. That's how we always called it.
Love it.
Yeah, that's how you put a little extra sugar on the table.
Love it.
Right?
And it was just a way to help out the people that I was on set with, and it snowballed from there. And it became my full-time focus just before COVID. And since then, I have no longer been able to spend time working in the field, so I've had to step away from the field. I don't want to say permanently because I like to keep a toe in. I'm still a IATSE union mixer. I'm still a member of the Cinema Audio Society. I'm still deeply involved in the politics and the networking and all of the events, and there are parts of it that I miss dearly, but I'm very proud to have our products helping on productions big and small.
Do you have to do a lot of trade shows, going out with crews and stuff like that?
Yeah, I traded in traveling the world, being on set, to traveling the world, being in convention centers. I do a lot of trade shows, a lot of sales calls now, but I also went from having one boss at a time to having many, many, many bosses because I am at the whim and mercy of our end users, our customers, our dealers and distributor networks, and the trade show calendar. So I serve many now.
What do you miss most about the field?
Oh, I miss the camaraderie. I love people on crews often talk about a crew being a family, and I agree with that very much. I love the fact that you are in tight with these people for a short amount of time, and it's a lot like summer camp where relationships are intensified and amplified because we spend such long hours together in close quarters together. So I miss developing those bonds with people.
Do you feel that there's more of an art or a science to it? And if there is some art to it, explain that a little bit when it comes to the audio.
I love this question. Is it more art or is it more science? Yes. So start with the technical stuff. We have to make audio get from point A to point B. And point A being coming out of somebody's mouth or somebody making a noise. And how do we not only capture it, but how do we distribute that sound to the people that need to hear it, to the places it needs to be recorded? So the technical side of it, I love figuring out that puzzle. But then there's the art of it, because when that tone comes out of somebody's mouth, what are we trying to convey? What are we trying to portray? So if we're talking about recording for a TV show or a movie, as the sound mixer, I'm the first person that gets to determine how the audience is going to experience that sound. Is this a quiet, emotional moment? Is this a rage-filled scream? Where is the camera? Where is the audience's perspective? Are they up close? Is this intimate? Is this far away? So I get to determine how that sound is captured, what equipment I'm using that all colors the sound in different ways, makes it sound have different tonal qualities. What is my perspective on it? How far away am I recording that sound? Is it supposed to be something that I'm hearing up close and personal, or is it something I'm supposed to be hearing far away? Is it something that should be captured by a lavalier microphone? Is it something that should be captured by a boom? or a plant mic hidden somewhere. So now we get I am using my paintbrushes to decide what the end product is going to look like. Now, there are other people and other departments and other creative decisions down the line that will affect what the final product is going to look and sound like. But I'm the first line of defense. And as the sound person on set, I'm also one of the few, it's only our department, who is concerned with something other than how the product looks on screen. Every other department comes together to help how it's going to look, and we're the department that decides or that determines how it's going to sound. So that artistry, that creativity, like that bubbles up. And when you combine the two, the technicality and the engineering of it with the artistry and creativity of it, that's when you get great work.
Nice. As an audio guy, most overused word in television?
Most overword used in television. We'll get you full rate on the next. No, there you go. Most overused word in television.
Most overword or saying.
I'm going to give you most overword used in television, favor.
I like that. Has there ever been a moment like spiritual, effect on you? Have you ever had one of those?
I mean, to say that production has had a profound impact on my life and growth is like an understatement. So I've developed a lot and I'm molded to be the person I am because of my career in production. I couldn't boil it down to specific moments, but I could say that like I have learned to be a better partner to my wife because of my time in production. I have learned to be a better businessman in my company because of my time in production. I have learned what not to do from a lot of people. So I think just looking back, reflecting upon my maturity as a person through production is very valuable.
What in your career stands out as the one that it's just like, it defined me?
It's got to be, so the one thing I'll talk about for the rest of my life and the one thing people will ask about is I worked, I did sound on the red carpet for the Oscars for 7 years, something like that, 7 or 8 years. And being on the carpet at the Oscars, like, this is the Super Bowl of media, right? This is anybody who works in film is working to be in that room at that moment. And you have an audience of people who wait all day just to get a glimpse of their favorite celebrity. And you get people clamoring for interviews, and people are, these celebrities and all of the viewing audience at the show, they have never spent more money on their clothes and their makeup and their hair and like this. They've worked their entire lives to be there, whether it's in production or as to just be a part of it. And I would be there in my tuxedo as well and capturing all of it. it really gives me perspective of like, I made it to the Super Bowl. I'm a part of this. They call me back every year. Um, the job itself seems simple to me technically, but also thinking about all that I do that is simple to me and comes easy to me because I've done it so many times and I've seen it done so many different ways. Like, you couldn't just put somebody else in that role without the years of training. So it was like being proud of myself and recognizing in the moment that, like, this doesn't happen to people unless they work their asses off and earn it.
What do you think we need to do to make the industry a little bit better for everybody else as crew members?
I am a union member, a union faithful. I am a big believer in standing up for workers' rights. I'm a big believer in keeping each other safe. We work in a very dangerous industry. It's dangerous physically, it's dangerous mentally and emotionally. So I think we need to educate the younger folks who are coming up in the production game, educate them of their own value and what collective bargaining and unions can do for them. We need to teach them how to be safe, how to stay safe. We need to keep the conversation going with everybody. It's how we bring each other up. If we can continue to lift each other up, not look at it through competitive eyes, but look at it through raising the respect, raising up all of production. That's how we build each other up. That's how we bring each other forward into the future.
Nice. I just want to thank you for coming in today and coming and talk to us. And I'm looking forward to having you back again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I thank you for coming in.
I appreciate it. It's been awesome.
You got it.